Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Vadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam. Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Satgurum Brahma Vidwaram. Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji has been giving different perspectives to help us appreciate why we should have Govinda as our goal. Now there are so many perspectives given, whichever one hits us, whichever one we connect with, and we make Govinda as our goal, Bhagwan says the purpose of Bhajagovindam is fulfilled. If you notice, Bhajagovindam is not talking about what is the nature of Govinda, why we should study Shastra, why we should study Vedanta. Only the why is the main topic of Bhajagovindam. What should we study in Shastra? That is the topic of Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishads. But if somebody feels right now I don't need spiritual knowledge, then Bhagwan says there are some perspectives that you should consider. So he painted different strokes in that painting. One of it was about dhana. Another one was about power, position, all those things. He also talked about secular knowledge alone not helping us. In and through that list, the last one that we saw was Punarjanma. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. Punarapi Janani, Jatare Shayanam. This is also one perspective, for us to wake up, for us to make Bhagwan as the goal, Govinda as the goal. In general, this thought doesn't come that having a physical body is a bondage, unless or until body starts giving trouble. When everything is good, nobody feels body is a bondage. We feel Vedanta doesn't know what our rishis are telling us. But if somebody can inquire and realize that no matter which physical form we take, it comes with its own plus and minus. What is the only plus of human body? Sadhana dhama mochakara dwara. It's a temple for doing our sadhana, for doing good work, serving the world, and purifying ourselves. This is the best instrument available. But the other side is, having a human body itself is bondage. So somebody who thinks about it very carefully, that person actually is a mumukshu. Mumukshu is not only the person who comes with a burning question and has that question for the guru. Mumukshu is somebody who has the ability to tune his mind to the direction in which scriptures are pointing. When it is said, Jijnasu should be buddhiman. Buddhiman means what? Whatever is being said, he can use his worldly wisdom to align his conviction with Shastra. Now, Bhagwan Shankaracharya is saying, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, rebirth itself is bondage. Now we can use buddhi to prove Bhagwan Shankaracharya wrong. Or we can use our buddhi to align our conviction with him. One who uses that, one who uses buddhi for tuning with Shastra, Bhagwan says that person is buddhiman. So this is what we had seen in the last session. Iha samsare bahudustare, krupaya pare, pahi murare. Another way to look at that line is power of prayer. Whenever we feel something is very difficult, unsurmountable thing, the best anchor is this, that Bhagwan, I lift both my hands, you have to lift me up now. And we saw the beautiful commentary by Puja Gurudev highlighting that fact. Then came the life of a jnani who was carefree. Ratya charpata virachita kantaha. Means he lives a life of sacrifice, gives more than what he takes. And in that, he has learned the art of being happy. Learned the art of contentment. That is this jnani. What was the verse we had seen in the first class? Yadruchha lava santushtaha. Everything is the same topic. We should not feel class 1 is something different, class 2 is something different. What is called as Atma in 4th chapter is Govinda in Bhajagovindam. They are not two different things. One type of mananam is that whichever class we are attending, whichever study group we are attending, to have seamless understanding across all texts. That is the beauty actually, how things are presented in a different way, but yet it is the same topic. So he is so content with whatever he gets. Why? Because his mind is punya punya vivarjita pantha. On the road he is walking with quilt made up of patches. But his mind is walking in Brahma Vidya. That is the poetry there. Rathya charpata virachita kantaha. Rathya means on the road whatever he finds, with that he has made his quilt. But what is the pantha for his mind? His mind is walking in Brahma Vidya, which is devoid of punya, devoid of papa. Punya punya vivarjita pantaha. So that was this jnani. And he was reveling like a bala. Ramate balaha unmatava deva. He revels like a child and like an intoxicated person. 2 examples were given. That's where we had paused, I think, last time. Child example means he can let go of things very quickly. Very pure heart. And really speaking, that is what gives us delight when we look at a child. Now that small child doesn't give anything materially to us. But why do we feel so happy looking at somebody who is unable to contribute anything materially? It is these qualities which are seen in that child. One distinct nature is absence of ahankara. Ahankara here is not individuality, absence of, we can say, pride. That's why they refer to their own name as third person sometimes. Right? Because they feel this is somebody else. But once that ahankara gets crystallized, when we are called adults, that is when different other things also, other vasanas also start manifesting. And Bhagavan says, really speaking, the innocence or absence of ahankara, all this is our true nature also. Means we are of that nature. That is why when we see it outside, it gives us joy. When you see that carefreeness, when you see that child free from anxiety, this is our essential nature is also like that. So jnani is able to be like a child on the strength of knowledge. On the strength of knowledge. And unmattavadeva, like an intoxicated person, what is that analogy? World of an intoxicated person is not available for ordinary people. And he is in his own world, talking about different things. Somebody said, if you are sober in a room, that is the best entertainment you can have. When you go for an happy hour, and you are sober and everybody else is high, spiritually high, he says you can have the best entertainment because you see they are in their own world. start talking about something else. Like that, this jnani is reveling in something which is totally different from what ordinary people are used to. That is this jnani, always abiding in that swarupa. I remembered something with the point that we were discussing, but it is not directly connected to this verse. So make a note of that. This point is not directly connected to this verse. One Mahatma would say, if we want to be happy around people, if you want to be happy in family, at work, any place, he would say, hold on to these 3 golden rules. 3 golden rules. What is the first one? Never make anybody feel they are unimportant. Never make anybody feel that their existence is not valued. First golden rule, he said, hold on to this. Second golden rule, he said, never make anybody feel they don't know something. Even if they don't know, don't make them feel that they don't know. Now apply this everywhere, even with children, at home, whomever we are interacting with. Don't make them feel unimportant. Don't make them feel they don't know something. And third is, do your best not to give sorrow to them. Do your best not to give sorrow to them. Dukkham. Now you will ask, where did he get these 3 golden rules? He said, your essential nature is Sat, your essential nature is Chit, your essential nature is Ananda. If you do something which makes you go against your essential nature, nobody will like it. Sat is of the nature of existence. And if we are made to feel that our existence is questioned, means our existence is questioned or we are not important. He says nobody will like it because it is not our swarupa. Our nature is of nature of knowledge. Atma's nature is Chit Swarupa. He said that is why we don't like this thought, I don't know something. Not knowing something is not appreciated because our essential nature is Chit Swarupa. Third one is straightforward. Our essential nature is Ananda Swarupa. Nobody likes Dukkham. So he said whatever is the nature of Atma, reflection of that in vyavahara will become sadhana. Atma is Sat Swarupa. Reflection is they should be made to feel their importance. Like how Bhagwan Rama made Vanaras feel important. Vanaras felt Bhagwan needs us for his army. And Chit Swarupa, reflection in sadhana is not making somebody feel they don't know something. And Ananda Swarupa, doing our best not to give dukkham. Where did this point come from? You say whatever is our essential nature, that is what we love. Like a child. Whatever we love in a child, it is really speaking the nature which we love. Because the same child only grows up to become an adult, teenager. Everything is same. But the change happens in that facet of personality, which we feel previously was something we were appreciating. Later, it doesn't remain the same. So this Mahatma was explaining in that same context. He said, whatever is essential nature, in vyavahara also, it should reflect. More it is in tune, more it will be beneficial. Now somebody says, Bhagwan, this jivan mukti is something that is making sense. See, initially when we talk about jivan mukti, when we talk about some Mahatma who is jivan mukta, we feel somebody else might be there. But he says, what is the path? If I want to walk that path, how can we also walk that path towards jivan mukti? So next verse is the path to jivan mukti. He says the main thing is start asking questions. Start asking questions. What type of questions? 23rd verse. Kastvam koham kuta ayatah kame janani ko me tatah iti paribhavaya sarvamasaram Vishvam tyaktva swapna vicharam Bhajagovindam Bhajagovindam Govindam Bhajamudhamate Govindam Bhajamudhamate. Remember the previous question paper Bhagwan had given? 5 questions. Very good. Kate kanta, kaste putraha, samsaroyam ativa vichitraha. That was not the question, that was just a conclusion. Kasya tvam? Tvam kaha? And kuta ayataha. 5 questions were there. Kasya tvam kaha, kuta ayataha, tattvam chintaya, tadiha bhrataha. Similar question paper. Now after doing some more reflection, Bhagwan says, I'll give one more. You see if you get same answers or different answers. Although the first question is kaha tvam, the first question is really kaha aham. Who am I? That is the first question Bhagwan says we should ask on the spiritual path. Now remember, this kind of subtle thinking will happen only to somebody who is not bothered by something immediate. If chinta is there, Chintanam is very hard. In fact, next verse is talking about that. Sometimes when you bring Chintanam, when there is chinta, instead of vichara, there can be anger in the student. There can be impatience. You say, I'm not connecting with the subject. So somebody who has devotion in the heart, somebody who can keep all worries aside for time being, that person can think about some subtler questions. And the first question on this spiritual journey is, who am I? Whenever I think about aham, whenever I think about I, what notion comes to mind? We should think about ourselves. Whenever I say I, what comes to mind? Sometimes it will be relations. It will start as a father, as a mother, son, daughter. Or it could be some titles. I'm a doctor, I'm an engineer, I'm a musician. All those titles. That is where one person can start. See, nobody starts directly by saying, I'm consciousness, okay? If we do, then they are hastamalaka, we should do pranams to them. It starts from these titles only. What to talk about starts. Even after studying Vedanta, it remains there. It is not easy to let go of these titles. Live feedback. Live feedback. So first title is related to different positions, relations. Then Vedanta asks us, we were not born with these titles, right? They came at a time. If they have come at some time, it is for certain it will also go away after some time. In particular, work titles. Any title that we have, it has come in time, it will go away in time. Guruji would say that's why people like to become politicians. Because even if you become mantri once, you can add the title prefix before that, Bhutpurva Mantri. Means past president, immediate past president. So many adjectives they add. Because title, it's very hard to live a life without those adjectives. So if it has come in time, it will also go away in time. It cannot be my essential nature. Then come a little closer. If title is not essential nature, how about body? When I think of aham, one of the identity that can come is physical body. And what does Vedanta say? We have taken several bodies. As jiva, as a subtle body, it has taken several shariras. Some of us could have been Agni Devata, Vayu Devata. Kenopanishad deja vu experience might be there. Huh? We saw yesterday the story of that thing. I feel this is very familiar. I had gone to see Yaksha. Means we could have gone to different lokas. We could have been different creatures. Sometimes parents, when they get angry with kids, they will say, last janma I know what you were. So much of, you're fidgety and doing so many other things. Meaning we have taken several sharira. This sharira is not our absolute identity. This sharira is not who we are. Then come a little closer. Thoughts or the mind, which you otherwise call a subtle body. The subtle body or mind, whatever is the nature of mind, I say this is who I am. Mind-related titles, think of it this way. You say, what kind of a person are you? We say, I'm a noble person. Now, body is not noble. Huh? That nobility is the title which goes with mind. I am a calm person. I am a dharmic person. All good titles only. Let us not take any other titles. See, these titles also belong to thoughts. And there are so many thoughts which are there which keeps changing. Nobody can say, I am a calm person forever. Means more or less I am a calm person. More or less. There are other thoughts also that come, but out of 100 thoughts, how much should we give? Maybe 70 thoughts. 70 thoughts are calm. You see, that person is calm person. Not that he will never get angry. So something which changes, something which comes and goes, can also not be my essential nature. There was one sadhaka who came to a Mahatma and said, Mahatma, I am a very temperamental person. Get angry very quickly. What should I do? That Swamiji said, get angry now. Get angry now. I said, Swamiji, in front of you, how can I get angry? He said, no, I'm okay. You get angry. He said, no, I get angry only that time, when there is a trigger. And all of us have some pain buttons, In general, there is no anger, but only those triggers, if they are hit, then I get angry. He said, the very fact you can get angry sometimes and you can be otherwise sometimes means anger is not your swarupa. Swarupa means what? Essential nature, but something which I cannot give up. Something which I cannot give up, something which I need not take up. Now, anger, can you give up or not? He says, thoughts can be given up. Rather, we don't have choice sometimes. They just get swept away, some other thought comes. So, essential nature, when we say swarupa, that is the meaning. Something which I cannot give up, something which I need not take up. What are some classic examples? You say sugar. What is essential nature of sugar? Why don't you say white color? You can have brown sugar. You can have brown sugar. But you cannot have sugar without sweetness. So sweetness becomes essential nature of sugar because it cannot be given up. It need not be taken up. It's already there. Why do you need to take it from somewhere? Fire also the same thing. Heat is the essential nature of fire. See, in US, every example will have some or the other flaw, okay? Because you will say, I have a fire which doesn't have heat. Have you seen that? The LED one that you see? All the flames are coming, no heat. But in general, fire means it has to have heat, it cannot be given up, it need not take it up. Like that, none of the qualities that we define for ourselves, they are our essential nature. Even a calm person belongs to mind, it is not really who we are. Because it keeps changing. Then Vedanta says, come even closer. Now remember, we have let go of titles, let go of sharira, let go of mind, at least in our understanding. How much we internalize, it's up to us. He says, remove everything from this aham and see what remains. So whenever I think of I, title should not come in my mind. Even if it is there, remove it through some force, remove it through some effort. He says, title is not my essential nature. Body-related identities, I am tall, I am short, those are also not my essential nature. Mind-related identities are also not my essential nature. Whatever remains, that is not void. Whatever remains, that is this absolute reality. It is Sat, it is Chit, and it is Ananda. That is the answer to this question, Kaha Aham. Who am I? This is the journey. Kaha Tvam, who are you? He says, once you identify with Chaitanya, this question itself becomes irrelevant. Only when we step into ahankara, only when I mistake myself to be this individual, then only is the notion of other. Remove the notion of individuality and try to establish duality. Remove the notion of aham, individuality, and try to establish duality. He says it's not possible. Like in deep sleep, once the notion of aham is gone, there is no tvam. There is no you independent of mistaken I. You say it's getting too heavy. Can you simplify it? Somebody asked Raman Maharshi ji. Said, of course, listen to this story. Bhagwan, when he was asked about this, you and I, he started telling a story about a sage called Rebu and a student, Nidhaga. The sage Rebu, he taught all Vedanta knowledge to his student, Nidhaga. And he said, now it is your independent life. You cannot stay in ashram all the time. Go and live in this world. But this Nidhaga, although he heard Vedanta, his conviction was not in Vedanta. It happens so many times. We hear Vedanta, but our heart doesn't accept it fully. What do you mean Jagat is mithya? What is Brahma is Satyam? So Rebu, he would take different disguise and come and keep an eye on the student. Very dangerous teacher, huh? Imagine if a teacher comes and keeps an eye on us, not knowing that he is keeping an eye. But he would do that. He would come in different disguise and keep an eye on his student, Nidhaga. One day he comes, he sees Nidhaga is sitting there happily and watching the procession of a king going on an elephant. So he comes inside, the sage Rebu, in a disguise he comes of a rustic. And he asks Nidhaga, where is the king? Where is the king? He says, can't you see? This whole procession is going on. The king is right here. He says, can you please elaborate more? Who is the king? Who is the king? He says, the one who is sitting on the elephant, he is the king. One who is sitting on the elephant is the king. He says, which one is the elephant? Which one is the king? He gets thoroughly frustrated. He says, really, you are asking me these questions? The one that is below is the elephant, one that is above is the king. Now Rebu asks the rustic, who is Rebu sage, who is in the form of that rustic, disguise of that rustic. He says, what is above, what is below? What is above, what is below? He says, come, I will tell you. In yoga, they have that cat pose, right? He says, get into that cat pose. He sits on him and says, now you are below, I am above. Say it again. You are below, I am above. Now he looks up, that rustic, he says, how can you establish you independent of I? Can you please explain that? How can you establish you independent of I? Suddenly he wakes up. He says, I am sitting on my guru. And this is the compassion of a teacher. He can become an elephant also if he wants to lift the student up. And then he gets his message. Then Bhagavan tells the disciple, the very concept of you, the very thought of you is rooted in erroneous understanding of I. Without identifying with conditionings, without giving reality to ahankara, you cannot give reality to duality. But once we give reality to ahankara, step into this individuality, I becomes real, means the finite I becomes real, you becomes real, and all the raga dvesha which is there on top of it becomes real. Kastvam koham kuta ayatah. From where have you come? The answer is, as this consciousness, there is no coming, there is no going. Body might have come, body will go. But Chaitanya never came, Chaitanya never will go away. Kame janani kome tatah. Who is my father? Who is my mother? Says all sambandhas are from body standpoint. As Chaitanya, I don't have any sambandha. Now this is what we chant in Nirvana Shadakam. Name janma, name mata, name pita. It's in a melodious tune, but the intricacies are in this. Only when we step into ahankara, only when I identify with this body, entire world becomes real. Now whenever we start thinking, right, that thinking should have a conclusion. Means we should say, what did I conclude after my thinking? Otherwise, what is the point? You keep thinking, you ask that person, what is your final idea about this topic? He says, I have only views, I have no conclusion. And sometimes they consider this as freedom in thinking. That we don't want to constrict your thoughts, we don't want to constrain your thoughts. But our Shastras, they are different. They say if you have thought about something, you have to reach to a conclusion. What is that conclusion? Second line. Iti paribhavaya sarvam asaram. If you have thought about life, thought about yourself in this way, and concluded that you are that absolute reality in which there is no duality. So nothing from this world of duality should become the goal of life. Example is, if you have understood the silver appearing on the shell is only an appearance. So that silver becomes asaram. Means we can use it for decoration, but you will not start using it for transactions. Like that, in everything, he has understood this is really speaking asaram. Sara is only Atma, which is my own true nature, that is Govinda, whom I should seek. Iti paribhavaya sarvam asaram vishvam tyaktva swapna vicharam. Bhagavan is telling this in a Bhajagovindam text, which is considered to be introductory text of Vedanta. He says, let go of this world thinking it to be a dream. Let go of this world as a goal of life, thinking of it to be a dream. Now, whenever we hear this, we don't like it sometimes. Say, what do you mean, world is a dream? It can be like a dream. But don't call it a dream. Don't call it a dream. See, one immediate benefit of this is, when paristhiti is very conducive, everything is going well, we don't mind calling the world a dream. And so we say, in dream only I'm enjoying, and so on. But when challenging situation comes, something challenging comes forward, it's very hard to hold on to this fact, this world is a dream. In fact, that is the time when this knowledge will save us. When something is going out of hands, that time this thought should come and protect us that this is not absolute. So many situations have come, so many situations have gone. I need not get overly concerned about this particular situation. This is the first contribution of Jagat Mithyatva. Otherwise, situations are so powerful, our mind is so powerful, it will push us into taking some actions. In particular, if it's a challenging situation, there this thought should come. There are so many dreams I have had, this is another dream, and no dream has stayed forever. It has come, it will go, I need not hold on to it too much. That is this bhavana. Huh? I was sharing it in our camp. One of our Swamiji, when he went to speak on this topic, one person came after the discourse. He told our Swamiji, he said, Swamiji, aap jagat ke piche kyun pade hai? Means, why are you after this world? Every class you keep saying, samsara is swapna rupa, it is like a dream, let go of it. What is wrong with you? Aren't you happy in life? You know that always you want to negate the world. So our Swamiji said, भैया हम जगत के पीछे नहीं पड़े, जगत मेरे पीछे पड़ा है. I am not after this world, world is after me. Meaning paristhiti is so overpowering, if we don't negate it, it will eat us up. And Gurudev has written a beautiful line in the commentary, see 91 page number. Second paragraph. In the middle you see. When things of the world are not understood as they are, they start playing their pranks upon the observer and according to the observer's imaginations. It's a very deep line. When things of the world are not understood as they are, they start playing pranks on the observer, means on us, and based on our own fancies and imaginations. Means mind has this power to project so many things. If it is good things, it is okay. But sometimes it projects things which make us so anxious. He says that part should be negated. Last time we had discussed this point, right? That whenever we talk about Vedanta, whenever we talk about negating the world, Jagat is mithya, nothing changes in vyavahara. Do you remember that analogy of Raymond's suit? Nobody becomes complete man by wearing Raymond's. He says complete man is the one, there was an advertisement, Raymond's the complete man. Complete man is the one who has this knowledge in the mind. Means in intellect he has this clarity. His conviction is in Jagat Mithya, Brahma Satyam. In his heart he has devotion. Emotions are soaked in devotion, and in his vyavahara, he has dharma. According to his role, he will play his role and do his best to not allow raga dveshas to interfere in delivering his role. That much if a person can do, all these sadhanas are fulfilled, all this knowledge is fulfilled. Means our vyavahara should not become a block in thinking about paramartha. Meaning we should not go away with this thought that if I think Jagat is mithya, will life become very dry? Life become without any motivation, insipid life. Gata sangasya muktasya. Gata sangasya mein. we're discussing in first class, from whom all friends have gone away. Sangha means friend, Gata Sangha means all friends have gone away. Not in that way. Life is full of bhakti, it is full of dharma. But that should not become an obstacle in this knowledge of Advaita. It is not either or. They are functioning at two planes. Advaita is the substratum, Dvaita is the superimposition on top of it. Maharaji would say, अपने प्यारे को दुश्मन से मत लड़ाओ. अपने प्यारे को दुश्मन से मत लड़ाओ. If you have a child who is very tender, very young, you will be so protective of that child. Not make him go and fight with anybody and everybody. Like that he will say, don't allow Advaita to fight with Dvaita. Means don't allow your knowledge of Advaita to fight with vyavaharic transactions. Because they are functioning at two different planes, they are not in conflict with each other. So mind and vyavahara, that is transactional plane. But knowledge of where this transaction is appearing, that is Paramartha, which is Advaita. Now, when such discussion goes on for a long time, the student gets annoyed. He gets impatient, gets angry also. It's the same thing you are repeating again and again. Bhagavan Shankaracharya anticipates it and writes the next verse for that student. You see how he is writing. Tvai mai chanyatraiko Vishnu Vyartham kupyasi maya sahishnu Bhavasamachittah sarvatratvam Vanchasya chiradyadi vishnutvam Vanchasya chiradyadi vishnutvam Bhajagovindam Bhajagovindam Govindam bhajamudhamate Govindam bhajamudhamate. Teacher knows right from the beginning that there is a chance that the student will get annoyed. And he is telling the student, it's of no use of showing this anger. Neither am I going to change, neither is my teaching going to change. He says, I'll hammer the same point until you get it. That is this word. Later part is vyartham kupyasi maya sahishnu. He says, your kopa which is there is vyartha. Body is telling something. I think just your leg gets twisted sometimes. He said, there is no point in getting this anger. There is no point in getting impatient. Vyartham kupyasi. Kupyasi means getting angry. Asahishnu means being impatient. Why? He says, Tvai mayi cha anyatra ekaha Vishnu. Our goal is to identify, our goal is to recognize that Chaitanya which is in me, which is in you, which is everywhere. And the irony is, in spite of telling so many times, you don't get it. So in Shastra, Punarukti is Bhushanam, not Dushanam. Punarukti means repetition. Repetition is an ornamentation. It is not a limitation. So he says, this is the style of teaching. Don't get impatient, don't get angry. What we need to abide is in that Chaitanya. Don't hold on to something in between and not continue your journey of study. And our mind is like that. It has this unique ability to see problems. In spite of everything being perfect, something it will hold on to. and say, this is where my problem is. And that will become an obstacle in our study. Bhava samachittah, become equanimous. Don't go to extremes very quickly. Don't get lifted up by any opinions, any views. Bhava samachittah, sarvatratvam, in all places become equanimous. Vanchasi yadi achirad yadi vishnutvam. If you want to make quick progress, this is the secret. Don't get caught up with any other thing, just focus on your main goal. Puju Guruji defined once, what is a problem? What is a problem? He said, problems are the things that we see when we forget our goal. Problems are the things that we see when we forget our goal. So on the spiritual path, he says, become very, very clear about what is your goal. Vishnu here is not Saguna Rupa of Bhagwan Vishnu. That is also there. But Vishnu here means one who is a substratum of everything. Vasanat Vasudevasya. Like that etymology it is. The one who gives existence to this whole creation, that is Vasudeva. That Chaitanya in which the whole creation resides, in which this creation appears, in which this creation dissolves, that is Vishnu. That Vishnu we want to abide in. He says, don't get impatient, don't get angry. This is our prayer actually when we do Sahana Avatu. Saha now Avatu. Saha means Bhagwan, may he protect both of us, the speaker and the student. Saha now Avatu. Which Sandhi is it? Now Avatu. Ayadi Sandhi. H-O. Sahanau Bunhattu. May we both benefit from this knowledge. Means may the result of this knowledge be seen in our lives. May it not remain a mere intellectual inquiry. Third one is important. Sahaviryam karavavahe. May we both put forth efforts. Speaker also and the listener also. This point we had seen earlier, right? I think in Bhagavad Gita class we had seen. When Mahatma Ji would say, if a speaker comes without preparation, tries to wing things in session, it's an insult to the audience. And there has to be effort by the speaker. He said the other part also. On the side of listener also, there is some effort required. Means what he said is, if the listener also comes prepared, they will benefit more from the text. Let us not put it the other way. And that is true or not. Whenever we prepare something and listen, we get more out of it. Sahaviryam karavavahe. Then comes the most important one. Tejasvinau adhitu means may this Tejasvi, we are all Tejasvis inherently. Upanishad Rishi is saying, Tejasvinau adhitu means we have done the right choice. May Bhagwan protect us. Ma vidvishavahe. May there be no off-tuning. May there be no any kind of conflict between both of us. Now you have to look at different Puranas, Upanishads and see who are those students who got angry on their teacher. That's when we'll be able to appreciate this verse more. One example that comes to mind is Kakabhushundi ji. In Uttarakhand, there is a beautiful portion of Kakabhushundi ji's journey. It is said he was a sadhaka who had great devotion to Bhagwan. And his teacher was Lomasha Rishi. He had many teachers. One teacher was Lomasha Rishi, who was established in Advaita Vedanta. So Kakabhushundi ji goes to Lomasha Rishi and says, please teach me this knowledge. I want to learn more about Bhagwan Rama. So Lomasha Rishi starts Ramakatha, but after few classes he goes into Advaita. He says Bhagwan Rama is Ananda Swarupa, he is Sat Swarupa, Chit Swarupa. And Kakabhushandiji doesn't like it. He says he doesn't know the student yet. First I want Saguna, then I will go to Nirguna. And Lomasha Rishi doesn't like all his questionings. Means Kakabhushandiji says, Uttara Prati Uttara Main Kinha. I started talking back to my teacher, and whatever point he would say, I would refute it with my logic. Uttara Prati Uttara Main Kinha. This Abhimana teacher did not like. And he got angry at me. And my conclusion was, if he is established in Advaita, how come he is getting angry? This is what he writes there. He says, this teacher is no good, gets angry, he is not established in Advaita yet. Means one anger can come when we hear things which are not in line with our convictions. And a student is the one who is willing to change those convictions. Right? Otherwise, what is the point of studying Vedanta? I came with this idea that Jagat is Satyam, I am a Jiva. After studying Vedanta, we go away with this idea that Jagat is Satyam, I am a Jiva. There was one Mahatma to whom there was another student who came and said, I want to establish Jagat is Satyam. So he would go and argue with any Mahatma who came, this point that Jagat is Satyam, I am a Jiva. Now some Mahatmas, they will not talk too much, they have their own way of teaching. He says, tomorrow when you go to a barber, you have to do your mundanam, you must have been a young brahmachari. Ask that barber, who did this mundanam? Who did this mundanam? Ask him and tell me the answer. So he goes and asks the barber, who did this mundanam? Barber says, I did it. I did it. Then he comes and tells the Swamiji, this is the answer I got from the barber. Now he said, you go tomorrow and tell him, no, you did not do it. Because you are that Chaitanya which is actionless. You are not Karta, you are not Bhokta. He went and told that barber, although you did this action, essential your nature is you are Akarta. He said, what are you talking? I did this action. So the student comes and tells, the teacher again, this is what I heard. He said, this is exactly what you are trying to do. What that barber did, without studying Vedanta, you after studying Vedanta are doing the same thing. There should be some shift in our conviction before studying Shastra and after studying Shastra. There is no point in getting angry. He says, give yourself a lot of time and open up these knots. Another anger can come when our ahankara gets pricked. Another anger can come when our ahankara gets pricked. You must have seen in the movie On a Quest, when Gurudev lives with Taponji Maharaj and he gives him a dhoti to dry. Taponji Maharaj gives Gurudev a dhoti to dry, and those days they would dry it on a bush, dry it on a tree, and Taponji Maharaj comes and says, there is a tear in that dhoti. And he tells Gurudev, you tore this dhoti, you should have been more careful while you put it to dry. Gurudev says, no Swamiji, it was already torn before. Because it was the fact, it was torn before, he had just put it to dry. But Taponji Maharaj says, you tore it. And then he says, you are lying. Taponji Maharaj tells Gurudev, you are lying. And Gurudev in his anger, you say, or his impatience that he had, just from that incident, he is ready to leave. He says, there is no point staying here. So another Swamiji stops him and says, this is your test that Swamiji is taking. Stay here and see what happens later. I don't know if Taponji Maharaj actually said it, but the line in the movie is, Swamiji says, if this whole world is a lie, why is this lie bothering you so much? Whole world is a lie. Why have this abhimana so much about being the most truthful person ever. The main point is, when does anger come? He says it comes when ahankara is pricked. Impatience also will be there whenever we think same thing is getting repeated over and over again. But whenever it gets repeated, we should understand it's very high chance that we will not get it. That's why they are repeating it so much, or until now we have not gotten it. Bhagavad Gita also, many sadhakas share sometimes. Oh, what is Bhagavan Krishna saying? Again and again he is telling the same thing. Do your work, don't get attached. Do your work, don't get attached. He says Bhagavan is not saying only that. If we are seeing that, then it is our limitation of study. Every verse has so much depth, so much of difference between the points he is mentioning. So with lot of patience, he says, study this Shastra. No point in getting angry. A student who is impatient will very quickly feel he has gotten the knowledge. Like our Virochana. In Chandogya Upanishad, Indra and Virochana, both are the students. They go to Brahmaji. Brahmaji puts an advertisement. I have something, if you get that thing, you will become immortal. And Indra signs up first. Virochana says, how come only Devatas are signing up? I will also go. And Brahmaji is a very strict teacher. His teachings are not elaborate. One line he will give. His teaching is, what is seen in the left eye is Brahman. That's all. No commentary, no examples, no stories, nothing. You go and reflect. So Virochana goes and sees in a pond. He says, in my left eye, I see my body. Or he must have seen in the eye of Indra. What is seen in the left eye is Brahman. He says, in his left eye, I see my body. He says, body is Brahman. That is the final teaching. He doesn't even wait to verify from his teacher, did I get it right? And it is said, that is where Charvak Darshan starts. Virochana is the guru of Charvakas. Body alone is the supreme, there is nothing beyond this body. On the other hand, you have a student of Kenopanishad. What does the student teacher say there? Yadi manyase suvedeti dabhramevapi nunam. Tvam vetta brahmano rupam yadasyatvam yadasya vedeshu athanu mimamsamevate. If you think you know something well, there is a chance that you have not understood it. Go and think again. This knowledge is not to be understood as another object. Only what is an object can be known very well. If it is you yourself, this statement that I know Brahman very well is also an erroneous statement. Then what does the student do? Goes, reflects, and comes back again. He is unlike this student, not kupyasi or asahishnu. And then he says, Naham manye suvedeti. I don't say that I don't know. I don't say that I know also. I don't know and I know. The one who knows it amongst us knows it. We will not elaborate that mantra, but the main point is the quality of the student. You also have Shvetaketu, whose father asked him, have you known that by which everything becomes known? And what was his answer? I think my teachers did not know it. If they knew it, they would have taught me. I am the best. If at all there is any knowledge, they should have taught me. If they have not taught me, means they have not understood it. More we will see in the next session. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. If you remember, last time you had to do something, right, for the class. What was it? We will have a summary session, a review session. So we need around 13 people. First 13 verses, we will recap. So you can give your names to Manuja. She will collect all the names. If you don't volunteer, I will start volunteering. Okay. But the purpose is not to show what we know or what we don't know. It is just to reflect upon each verse. You will get closer to that verse. Okay? So I encourage all of you to volunteer. Hari Om.